It spins for so long. Hello. Oh my gosh, we already have a
Whoa,
comment from Jonah. Hi, Jonah. Um,
Jonah.
welcome to a band batch. Dun, do, 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 do.
Do, do,
You know,
do, 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 do.
so we decided to stick with that name that we came up with last week, and we're excited to talk about episode 13 of the Bad Batch today, the music and sound. Um, this will be an interesting conversation for many reasons. Um, As you can see, James is here, but Justin is not here. However, he sent a ton of notes for me to read, and so his thoughts will be represented in today's stream. So, how are you, James?
I'm good, Xanthe. How are you?
I'm good. I think this will be an interesting episode to talk about,
Yeah.
um, because it was it was different. It was
Should we go ahead and just give it a rating or something?
okay. I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, I'll just say off the bat, this was not my most enjoyable to watch.
Likewise.
It just wasn't.
Absolutely likewise.
It was just like wasn't enjoyable. But that doesn't mean that it is not going to grow on me or be
Yeah.
like worth something. Just as it was as like a first time viewing, it wasn't that great for me. But I
Well,
think, but like also, it's really hard for me to watch extended like action stuff like that. Like,
mm-hmm.
and those action sequences were so long and honestly kind of so loud too that I'm sensitive. I'm just really sensitive to that kind of stuff, and
Right.
it's kind of hard
Right.
for me to
Yeah.
like watch that part too many times. So I like didn't even understand what was going on until like I reviewed the episode a ton of times, and even so, I was sort of like I don't really want to be in the dark space for too long. It's like so loud and there's so many noises and it's like just so much, and I just like
Totally.
can't wait to get to the quiet part where there's talking
Uh, yeah, in many ways, I mean, for many reasons, I'm very sad Justin's not here, but
because there's
uh,
so many sounds.
there's so many sounds to talk about, and I love to talk about them, but I just what Justin could have recreated this week would have been awesome because you're right, there's so much sensory overload in those cave scenes.
Yeah, it's sensory
Um,
overload for sure. For
yeah,
sure.
and
Hey
it's
Jonah, hey K-pop times. I'm
hey
glad
y'all.
I'm glad you like the name. um yes, okay. Let me see what his notes have. I mean, we will get into some examples
Yeah,
and I have and also
well,
okay, you know what, like because the music in this overall, like if we're to talk about overall thoughts about the music in this scene, I like there are not very many standout melodies.
right.
It's very textural, and there's a lot of repeated types of motifs and types of
Yeah, a lot of
figures.
actiony, ostinati that only really stretch within like a whole or half step from each other. Like a lot of like repeated notes and dun 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 dun. A
Exactly.
lot of that stuff.
And also
Um,
there's a lot of like ominous marimba stuff.
yeah,
And so
or Mbira stuff. There's a lot of Mbira in this.
oh, is that what that
Uh,
is?
so definitely some marimba, some low marimba, but then there's like a synthy, echoey mbira sound, and mbira or a kalimba or a
Oh,
thumb
kalim.
piano. It's
Oh.
all the same instrument, all the
Oh,
same
okay,
instrument.
okay, okay.
And those instruments are from the southern part of Africa, in Zimbabwe, South Africa, Tanzania, and you play them with your thumb. They're metal, kind of metal tabs that you can tune by adjusting the length and then flick with your thumbs, and that creates a boom sound that you
Yep.
hear. I doubt, I mean, I guarantee it's not an actual mbira, it's a sample, but there's a lot of processing on it, a lot of echo, which I found cool. This is the first episode that sounds that sound has really made an appearance. I like
Oh,
those moments,
okay. Well,
and I wish I had my mbira here. Actually, my mbira is not at the house. I would be able to play some for you. So, but
I
yeah.
think that interesting. I wonder how many marimba cues I mistook for like you said it's the same thing as like thumb sorry, what is it called?
Kalimba.
I
Kalimba.
kalimba. That's the instrument. That's the name that I know. Um
Mm-hmm. anytime you hear like a buzzy after texture on it, it's
Yeah,
likely
the
Imbira,
kalimba.
because Imbira's
Umbera. Okay.
yeah. Imbira is the more traditional name for it.
Okay. Okay.
And the that buzzing sound is pieces of metal that are placed on the metal tabs, like a bottle cap or other piece of like jangling metal that buzz when you flick
Mm-mm.
the tab. So anytime you can, that's the tell. That's the tell between marimba and imbira. A marimba, as we know, is a wooden bar, and this is for any viewers that might not be sure like what we're talking about. Basically, a marimba is a big old xylophone, big old wooden xylophone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, basically, and there's a lot of Jonah actually. What Jonah said a lot of repeating instruments that represent characters. I would say that is also. I think that's what I was thinking of when I said the instrument thing, like the marimba thing, because we did get an instance. We got like 3 separate instances of marimba um,
Yeah.
associated with like Roland
Yeah.
stuff, and so I will actually play all 3 of those, and then we can guess like all of them sound very similar because it's all marimba stuff. But then we can try to figure out which one goes to which scene. So like a lot of the
Yeah.
things that like a lot of the quiz portions that I'll bring up today are sort of like overall like testing of what we noticed. For example, like I'll just start with one. Did we hear? This is yes or no question. Did you hear? Did you hear any gongs?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gongs and ringing temple bowls and pottery and yeah, not everything that goes dong is a gong all the time, right? So some of these are like I said, metal bowls, temple bowls, almglocken. Some of them might have also been
So
almglocken as well.
one of the gong instance that I'm thinking of, it only happened it happened once, and it was like
Yeah.
at the end of a scene, it was like gong, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
and so that stood out to me. Um, okay. Oh, oops! I didn't mean to do
Ube.
didn't mean to do that to Jonah's comment. Let me pull up Justin's notes in case he had any overall. He has a lot of notes. This is really funny. Oh my gosh, gotta love Justin. So, love the return of Ruby. Cool shout out to episode 7, Battle Scars.
I know
Ruby.
he's going to talk about one thing that I want to quiz you on.
Okay.
So
Okay.
before you get too
Okay.
far in Justin's notes, I'm realizing that I should probably quiz you on this stuff
Okay.
before he does it. Okay,
Okay.
so everyone, y'all, where is this from?
All right.
And
Get
actually,
ready.
I'm very excited to talk about this. Actually,
Okay.
um,
If you're new
so,
to the Band Batch streams on Star Wars Music Minute,
yeah,
we quiz each other and you all. We playing examples and just to test our memory recall
yeah.
of from our listening
And
skills from
we
the
don't
episode.
have the
We don't
counters
have any official. We
on
don't have
speed
any official
dial.
notice.
We don't have the score. We don't have them. So this is all transcribed by
It's
us
our
on the show.
interpretations of what we heard.
Yeah. So
So
I definitely don't have the exact sounds, and a lot of times when you hear us playing actual physical instruments on the stream, it's our approximations, because a lot of times on the actual show, it's using digital and virtual instruments. So I tried to create these sounds as best I can, but I'm pretty sure that they're virtual synthy instruments that are kind of representing the percussion instruments I have here. So here we go. And I love this part because I'm also going to ask another quiz. Once we figure out what this part is from, I have another question to go along with this part. Okay. It's a very
okay.
cool part.
Oh. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That whole thing Is
I repeat. I was liberal with how many times I repeated. It's basically a repeating thing, and there's two sections that clearly have two different sounds that you heard, right?
whew,
Um,
okay.
so I can't tell you how many times exactly each part, but I played one figure and then I played a different figure. Let me do it again.
Okay,
Let's
wait, I
see.
want a hint. I want you to Are there any other instruments present at the same
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, but like not very many at all. Like this is pretty much what juts out in the texture, but it's also, I should say, it's kind of hard to hear exactly what's going on musically, and that
Okay.
maybe is a hint. Okay.
Oh, that end part is okay. So it's a like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Okay, so this is okay.
Okay.
Once we
Jonah
figure
has
that
a
out,
guess.
the other Jonah
Surprise,
has a guess.
surprise. Jonah has a guess.
What's Jonah's guess?
When they sneak in to steal the spice.
Uh, good guess. No.
Okay.
Any other
Okay.
guesses?
Okay.
It does sound kind of sneaky though, doesn't it, Jonah? Actually, you know what I should say
What?
is that this type of like you heard this had that roll, that kind of echoey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just doing this by just bouncing a stick on a woodblock,
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
But it's definitely done through an echo or a delay. It's done through a delay in the actual software. There's no way that somebody actually played with a stick. So, and you're gonna hear that, like all the percussion in this episode has that type of texture on it. So I can definitely hear how, like during the sneaking in to steal the spice scene, other scenes, that you could definitely hear those textures echo, quote, no pun intended, echoing out throughout the rest of the episode. Any other
Okay.
guesses?
Oh my God. Can you play that end part where it's kind of pitched?
Yeah. Well, I should say the pitches are not the same because these
Okay.
I don't have control over what pitches my wood blocks are,
I see. I
unfortunately.
see. Okay.
But in terms of the contour of the melody, it does go up that
Okay.
way.
Okay.
I should say my wood blocks have a wider range
It's
of
like
melody than
I'm like a major triad, but I'm trying to be like,
right.
no, there's not a major triad. That's just the contour. Okay.
Okay. Any other guesses?
Jonah says, was this one of the songs in Sid's jukebox? Are you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh,
So Sid, okay, I have to say that Sid
I thought
has the
that was like,
hippest jukebox. And do you know why? Can anyone tell me what time signature this is in? And it stays in this time signature throughout the whole scene. It's pretty wild, actually.
I already said it.
Did you already say it?
but
Did you already say it? I didn't hear it.
but let's see if we get any guesses. Play it again.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you guess it. Okay. Any guesses on the time signature? It's pretty wild. Time signature is the name of the number of beats or divisions of the rhythm that repeat over and over and over again, right? So there's a pattern here that repeats, and it's a certain amount of beats.
Yeah.
Just for so anyone know? Because a lot of most music we listen to is in 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
1, 2, 3,
Jonah
4.
says, I want to say 3/4, but it's probably not. It's not 3/4.
It's not.
But it is an odd meter.
It is odd. It is odd.
My guess, I'll give a guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess that it's either 13/8.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say it's either in 13 or it's like 2 bars of 5 with a bar of 3 repeated.
Cool. So, it is indeed in 13, or you could definitely say it goes 5, 5, 3. I know a lot of Western musicians typically like to break things up into smaller chunks like that. A lot of times, even in an orchestral score, you'll see things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. If we were in North India, they would definitely consider this in 13. a lot of the cycles can be considered into something longer. So I'm gonna play it, and I'll count to 13 and see if you can
I
count along.
commented on my own stream just so I could put the comment up there. It's
Yeah.
13:08.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, let's see if I can count all the way to 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2. So Sid is listening to music that's in 13/8 in her jukebox, which is pretty wild. Or I should say
It's not wild.
not Sid, but oh my gosh, I forgot the Devorian's name. What's his name? What's the guy that took over? Roland.
Roland keyboards.
Roland keyboards is listening to music in 13/8, which is wild for being on a jukebox. I think I challenge anybody to go
But
to
not
your
Sid's
local jukebox
jukebox.
and yeah, you're right. It's Star Wars. That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying,
know.
right?
13 is pretty common in Greek music, so
Yeah. Do you
Just-
would you say that if in a Greek popular setting?
for those who don't know,
common-
I am half Greek and I play
Yeah.
Greek music. Okay.
So in a popular setting, in a bar or anything like that, do you think would you typically hear odd meter music being played?
In Greece, yes, but I mean 7/8 would be more common,
Gotcha.
of course.
Long, short, short, long, short, long, right? Typically that version or the other way? Long, short,
All
long,
kinds. There's
short,
like
all
different,
kinds.
a lot of different ones, and same with like
Awesome.
Greek dancing. But the thing is, like, since okay, this is a little bit of tangent, but I'm a Greek dancer, and I'm the only person in my like Greek dance group who's a musician, and like when we're learning dances, I'll be like, okay, this is like in 9, but I can split it, but it's split up this way. But the thing is, like,
Right.
it's not something that like people like that's something that me as a trained musician, trained classical musician, am imposing on that. No one else knows what's happening, but everyone else is doing it right. Like everyone else knows what to do. But and it's funny because we don't even count it that way. We count it in a way that like would not make sense to like Western classical people because it would be like wrong. But it's and it's like a way where like the one of the beat like almost like sometimes it just like changes even when the meter doesn't change, and so it just seems like it's wrong, but it's not. That's just how it is, and no one knows what the meter is. But there's like cues. It's always like listen to where the lauto does its strum. Like listen to where the downbeat of the, and so you can tell
like lute, right? A lute instrument, like a guitar
yeah,
string
I would
instrument?
say yeah. So like the lauto has like a pick that's like a really long pick, and it like and so it'll be like you can tell like when it's like an upbeat, or you can just like there are certain cues that
And this is the same with dance music all over the place, right? Even the musicians, like how many people that watch this stream like don't necessarily know what a time signature is, but they know where the beat is when they're in
like
listening
if
to
you know where to
music.
clap,
They
you
know
know
where
the
to clap.
offbeats are.
When the guy says, clap, 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 clap your hands, everybody knows when to clap, right? So I mean, folk music is like that, right? So even if somebody's like, even if the music's not in 13, so in Sid's bar, we got music playing in 13, and the crowd's just chilling with it. Do da do da do do da do. So I did send Xanthe a little transcription of.
Oh, okay, cool. So Justin said something. He said, "The bar music very electro. I hear a weird pitch changing clap," which is what you were depicting.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I think
first time we enter. Second time
it kind of sounds like wood blocks, but it's not. It's probably some digital sound or a clap, like Justin says, probably some kind of clap that's like pitched. So
yeah, but I mean, it's a little too getting too in the weeds here. But but if you have a digital clave or wood block or something, and you're playing it on a keyboard, like you couldn't play it pitched, and it'll make it sound like just clave pitched.
Absolutely.
So there's that. If that makes sense to anyone.
High, low, high.
Exactly.
Low,
K-pop
low,
times.
High, low, high, low. Buzz, 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 buzz. And now you get to see what buzzes look like in percussion notation. You see that right there?
Oh yeah, it looked like.
So if you ever look at notation, you have a Z put over it's literally a Z, the letter Z.
Yes.
Put over, and that means buzzing. So there you go.
Fun. Okay.
That's a fun little. I was like, what time signature is this in? And I thought it might have just been switching all the time, but it was very clearly a repeated 13 phrase, which was cool. I'm
All
making
right. Are
it
we
my
ready for the
mission that
Are we ready for the
whenever we
Marimba
have
test, everyone?
odd meters, I pointed out. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
good. I like the odd meters, so thank you for pointing that out, James. Okay.
Marimba
So,
test. I
Marimba
took a lot
test.
of Marimba tests in college, so hopefully I do well on this.
All right, everyone. I already told you like half the battle is that these are going to be ominous marimba cues, and Roland is always in the scene when we hear them. So should I play all three of them, and then we'll do like a multiple choice type of thing, or?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. This is ominous marimba number 1. Oh no, Jonah's not ready. Oh wait, no, I think that was a joke. Lord, I'm never gonna get faster at picking up on jokes.
That's really funny. Okay.
Can you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
that's the first one.
The first one.
Nice. I like the emoji.
That's the inside over Xanthe's head joke.
Oh yeah, Jonah,
Yeah.
good one. Now
Very
I like.
meta
Now I like it
very
even more.
Meta,
I
very
liked.
meta, Jody, because that also went over their head. So.
Yeah, meta moment. All right.
That's what we do best here.
Erase that from your memory. This is number 2.
Okay. Okay. Looking at my notes.
Next one.
The
Last
only
one.
thing that'll save me now.
It does kind of like
Yeah.
speed up.
I think I know 2 out of 3 of these, which I'm really excited about. Okay.
All right. Anyone want to hear any of those again?
I love. Oh, this is literally like we're taking like a
test.
proctored test. Would anyone like to hear any of those examples again? We'll play them one more time.
Are you making fun of me?
I'm not making fun of you. I just love how official this is.
It's okay. I was fishing for a Star Wars an Attack of the Clones reference.
Oh, what? Which one is that?
Mm.
Yes, I would never.
Yeah,
I would never tease a podcaster.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Sorry. That almost.
It's all right. That was my joke, and it went over your head.
That was me going over my head.
Yeah. All right. I'll do them all.
I think. Well, the reason why is because I think sometimes we do have to check in because I am typically sarcastic. I wouldn't blame you for checking if I'm making fun of you. So,
fair enough.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Here's the first one.
Yeah.
Number 2. It might be faster, but not too much. I know they all sound very similar.
Yeah, they do. Okay,
K-pop Times brings you back to those listening exam days. I'm so
I love
sorry.
it.
Number 3. It just repeats. And there's a industrial sounding whoa underneath.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. I definitely know that third one, so I'll go ahead and
Okay.
guess that one first.
If anyone
Third one,
knows any of them, just feel free
throw
to
it in the
comment.
chat. Yeah. So the third one is when the Pikes are basically gonna punish Roland at the end of the episode, and we've got that bass synth underneath, and so I really took that this sound I associated a lot with the Pikes. Um, this the buzzy marimba, and this is like that glass buzzy marimba. It's very unclear whether it's an actual marimba sample or if it's a Mbira sample. I would probably lean towards an Mbira sample because it does have a really buzzy Mbira texture to it. However, Mbiras usually don't go that low, so the only way that they would actually go that low,
Because the last
and
one is low.
yeah, and marimbas don't even sound like this when they're that low, right?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a sample, so it's
Yeah,
nice and clear.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
James was right about the last one. So the last one is at the end is the Pikes.
yeah.
The first one is when he gets Ruby back.
Which
And
was brutal, by the way. Brutal for a kid show. I mean, it's not really a
the
kid
cutting of
show,
the horn.
but it's for an animated show, yeah, just like cutting off his horn right there. Which is kind of interesting that he's got these parallels, or not parallels, but like similarities to Vizago, right, from Rebels, who also has a
Yeah.
cut off horn. So it's kind of like kind of interesting. I almost like did they originally have Vizago in this script, and they were like
Oh, I
maybe
don't
that's a
know.
little bit like maybe they were like maybe there's too many Rebels references or something like that, and maybe that was like a way of getting his horn cut off or something like that.
Oh, that's
It's just
interesting.
it's kind of very it's so close to Vizago. I'm just like what? Why did they chop his horn off? But I just thought that was brutal. What an intense moment for this show. That might have been one of the most brutal things that's happened in this season so far.
I don't know. We've had this whole conversation, you, me, and Justin, of like there are so many
What's that?
brutal things, but we all
Yeah,
we all
we all
latch
have
on to
different
different things.
definitions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
Jonah,
also like it. Apparently, maybe he doesn't have nerves in his
not
horn
quite.
because he was like afterwards he like wasn't very exasperated about having this happen. He was just like, oh man, I got my horn. Like he was like completely calm after this
I'm trying to
happened.
think of like what the horn would be made of, like what the human equivalent might be. And I'm thinking like, is it
Cutting your
like
hair.
keratin or something? Or like,
Yeah.
the type of material of like fingernails? But like, imagine you have like a lot of that. And so like,
Right.
I can imagine that I don't know, I can imagine there's like some pain, but not like in it itself, but maybe it's enervated. No, maybe like the root of it is enervated somewhat. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
I feel like it was probably a little bit painful, but mostly like from the imagined pain,
Yeah. Yeah.
if that makes sense. Like if I imagine something really horrible happened, something really graphic happened, then it hurts more. But I've like sliced my hand open on accident and been like
Right.
almost no pain
And it's the
until after.
permanence and and the loss of identity and the loss of body
On accident, by
to
the way.
yeah. And by the way, Jonah, yeah, that was the next part I was gonna say. It's like this and Crosshair doing that, which we noted a
Yeah.
couple whenever episode that was, second episode, that was just so dark, right? There's been a couple things in this show, but to me this just felt so visceral and personal and like just so sadistic. I guess that's what it is. It's so sadistic, and the intent from it by the Pikes is just so brutal that
I think
it really triggered me.
I think a lot of it is also like it was disgracing, like
Yeah,
sort of humiliating.
yeah,
And I think that adds to it for me at least.
yeah.
It's like
Humiliating for sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then like he's like naked in a way with one of his horns cut off. I think
Eek.
it's like a mark. It's like a mark of shame right there.
Absolutely.
So
Um, okay,
so
so
the last
definitely the
one is
third
horn
one is.
chopping. The first one is getting back Ruby.
Oh,
No,
oh, is
no,
this his
no,
guess? Okay, okay, okay. So can
nope.
I guess the first one? Let
Yes.
me guess the first one. I think the first one is when we meet him, right?
Yep.
Okay, okay.
I just
Oh,
went
I
in
love that.
I just went in
This is my
chronological
main
order.
instrument, y'all. I don't get these many chances. Okay,
This
I
is
play
true.
this instrument.
This is true. Wow,
All right,
James, you finally beat Jonah.
finally. No,
Shocker.
Jonah's always showing up ready to
I
go.
know.
So we don't we want to give
I know, I
our
know, I
audience
know.
some props here. Nothing personal, Jonah, but I got you, buddy. All right. All
Well,
right, but I don't know
it's
what
the
that
Let's
second
Stump
one is.
Jonah
I don't.
show. I mean,
Maybe I
this okay.
think.
The second one is yeah, Jonah. I know it's in chronological order. Um,
Yeah, I was okay. This is what Xanthe does. By the way, Xanthe did this, has done this before, where they're like, "Let me give you 3 examples," and then they play them right in order of the episode, and you're like, and you don't want to guess that because you're like, that can't be it, but it's right on the nose.
it's honestly because I just start doing them and then I'm like, oh, I probably should have scrambled it up.
It's game theory. It's like one level more than game theory, where you're just like, well, there's no way that they put them in chronological order, but then you're like, wait, maybe they think that I would think that, so maybe I should guess it in chronological.
Hmm.
There you go. There you
What
go.
would Thrawn do?
I don't know what the second one is though. Can you play it again?
Yeah. I admittedly feel a little bit guilty about that one because I can't remember what octave it is, and I know that might make a difference. So
Yeah, it might be a little lower
I
than
can't
that.
remember if it's high or low because some
Yeah,
of
it
them are.
doesn't go much higher than how you're playing in this episode.
Yeah.
So I would I mean, what are some big? We know that Roland's there, right? But I
I
don't
mean,
know.
Jonah had the right. He had the ones in
Oh,
the
so
wrong.
it's when he's getting Ruby
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Then.
yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
like Jonah actually was like
Okay. Gotcha.
correct in identifying which ones were present. Just mixed up the order.
Cool. Well,
But yeah,
good.
exactly.
Jonah for picking out all 3 of the spots, right?
Yeah. So
So
now we got him. All right. Good
those are
job.
really nice. And so you think this might be associated with Roland, or do you think it's more with the looming presence of the Pikes?
At first, I thought it was Roland, but then the last one, since it wasn't Roland being ominous, I just wrote ominous. I just think of it as an
Yeah.
ominous thing. I don't have enough evidence pointing toward a specific, like, it could be the Pikes, but the Pikes might not come back. So it might be like an
Yeah.
ominous thing.
You know what's really interesting is that I know you don't speak Marvel, but I think it's worth mentioning. There's recently an interview with Natalie Holt, who scored that show. Okay, and she was talking about a theme that comes out throughout the entire series. And I'm not going to spoil Loki, y'all, but I will kind of be vague about it. So, but basically, what they said is like these the main theme that happens throughout the whole episode is actually to be interpreted as a certain character's theme that doesn't appear until the last episode. And you hear that sound and you might almost think like, hey, this is the sound of the TVA, which is the organization that they spend most of their time in the show. But she actually said, you know what, actually, because of what happens in the last episode, it's actually this character's theme, because you find out that this character is actually the looming presence and through line throughout the whole show. So I kind of like
That's
that
cool.
interpretation here of the Pikes, right? Is like you don't realize what the Pikes are going to do and how they're going to really be the ones that you're going to want to be scared of here
That's
until
true.
the end. So it's kind of a cool
What's
way of doing
interesting
that.
also is like, because this episode didn't have as many huge cues. Okay, we have some fans of the TVA theme. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you'll know, that's like I said, Natalie Holt lets us know it's not actually quote unquote the TVA theme. It's actually this one character at the end. But I'm not gonna spoil.
Don't spoil it for people, but that's cool.
Yeah.
The thing about this ominous marimba theme is that since we were saying how this episode didn't have as many like easy grabs, like Hera's theme, that's like an easy one that I'm definitely going to do that one. Like, because it sort of forced us to pay more attention to things that in an episode with a lot more music we might have missed or just like not paid attention to. So because like these little things are just have risen to the top for this episode, I wonder how many times this actually happens in other episodes too, but I just like forgot because it wasn't that, noticeable compared to what else was in there,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Um,
I bet
okay.
like second watch of Bad Batch will be interesting because
Yeah,
I
and
bet we missed so much.
I bet we did. And I'm curious. I mean, okay, so let's just like take a quick like aside for. I know we kind of talked about what we thought about this episode, but I think this kind of resonates with what I thought about the episode, which is like I like the episode. I think the episode is well done. I thought the tension and the sound and the production and the animation and everything was wonderful. Even the storytelling's great. Just for me, just where it sits, um, didn't interest me because of everything we've seen so far. I didn't feel like there was a whole lot of forward motion, but I believe that we're gonna see those connections later. We're gonna see like where Roland comes into play and the Pikes, etc. It's kind of like Clone Wars. There's all these like little things and little side adventures, and you get to see how they build. But here's the thing: I never watched. I don't know about any of our audience members. I never watched Clone Wars on a weekly basis, waiting for the next episode. I watched it after it already been, finished. I watched it on Disney Plus. So in some ways, I didn't have that investment being like, this is this week's episode. What do you mean? That's all we get this week? What about Crosshair? What about
Yeah.
about the
That's
Fennec
why
Shand? What about
that's why I like
yeah
sort of don't care. Like
yeah
it's
yeah
it's
it'll
fine. Like
go
yeah, I didn't
yeah
really enjoy this episode as much, but
sure. I didn't hate
also
it. I loved a lot of parts about it, but it definitely wasn't like it wasn't like I wasn't burning off of it like we were off the Hera
yeah.
arc or we were off of the big Crosshair
Yeah. It's fine.
episode. So
It's
yeah.
fine.
But I think that's musically we'll see where these goes. I'm very curious to see like we've been talking about this marimba theme in these notes with the Pikes. I would love if anyone knows in the chat or anyone watching this commenting later, like what about the Pikes music later back in Clone Wars? I'd love to go hear them and see if any of those, if maybe they do have these themes and these melodies that are played. This bim bim boom 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 boom. Those
And
notes. I'm
okay,
curious if
I'm sure that's popped up a lot because I do know it's like a harmonic. It's basically just like that's
yeah
it's not a very specific theme. It can just ambiently pop up. It's one of those
yeah.
ones where I think like it would be almost like being like, oh my gosh, that scene had the color blue in it. What could that mean? And
It's very
I feel like
generic. For lack
it's
of
so yeah, it's so
a less harsh.
generic that, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that in a we might be latching on to something that doesn't need to be latched onto way.
Sure, for sure.
It's so generic that it's hard to know whether it
Is
is
something or not, right?
something or not, because I'm sure it has popped up before, but it's also just
Yeah.
something that pops up naturally in a lot of
Yeah.
music. So
But what's
it
not
is really
generic is
hard
the
to.
instrumentation, right? So I'm curious if there's maybe some marimba work or something with the Pikes in the
And
past or
like
something,
Jonah was saying, like, and we've said before, instruments are representative of characters
For
most of
sure.
all in this show.
Oh yeah.
Molly, I agree. I kind of wish it came before the Ryloth arc, especially after Crosshair's moment at the end of episode 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing about this episode is that it's like it's like one of those episodes that that it starts like before the start of this episode you didn't know that Sid lost her bar, and at the end of the episode she's got her bar back. So it's almost like you could just take that episode
Yeah.
out and it's like it
This
never
sort of
happened.
it feels sort of like
But
remnants of episode 7. You
yeah,
have a lot of the same characters. You have Sid back. You have cave stuff. I mean, though, okay,
game
we were on
stuff.
Braca for that one, but like also we have Weequay, like we have the Weequay and we have
Hmm.
those,
Those characters,
those
yeah.
guys, and we
The
have
Ithorian, yeah.
Ruby the lizard is also from episode 7,
Right.
and so I don't know. It
It's
yeah,
more character arc, in terms of with Sid. We got more from Sid. We got to see more context. We got more about the Pike. So it's world building. It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. But yeah, for sure. I did feel this week. I was like, I'm ready for the next one. I'm ready
yeah.
for the next app.
K-pop times same.
Yeah.
Same, same, same.
Okay, speaking
Okay.
of Roland,
Oh,
I got something for you. Okay, here we go. Tell me where this is. Let me do a sound check here. I'm gonna mute my mic so you can't hear my so just give me a nod. Actually, no, I can still hear you, but you just won't be able to hear me.
okay. Oh, I can hear that.
Cool. Oh. Sorry, let me just get this one more.
I feel like we're at band practice. We're at band batch practice. Oh my gosh.
Something like that. Something like that.
Sid. Is that Sid's jukebox?
Anybody else in the chat?
Jonah
I want to
says,
play that better.
okay.
There it is. Okay.
Okay. So Jonah said this before you started playing, but I think the Pikes had some electronic sounds when they came on screen.
Yeah,
But
they
like,
did.
yeah, that's unrelated to what you just played.
Synths, yeah.
But yes, agree. Sounds like Sid's jukebox. Jonah says that sounds like Sid again.
So now we've got, okay, so.
One of my trivia questions was actually, how many times do we hear diegetic Sid's music?
In this question, in this song.
In this episode.
Or, sorry, in this episode, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if anyone wants to answer that too, you can.
So, okay, so this is indeed Sid's music. It starts out with just like some bass and snare. Then it adds like a kind of trashy, like a shaker or hi-hat sound right here. It's pretty funky. And then there's some bass. There's some bass in there. And the reason why I said, speaking of Roland, is because this is a Roland SPDX sampler pad. So Roland makes that piece of equipment. So this is Sid's jukebox, and I got a question. So I played Sid's jukebox music before. So it's almost like they were trying out the 13/8 music, and then somebody was like, "Put on something in 4/4," and then they switched.
Oh yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
Okay. But so which one is this? Which one came first?
This one came after that one.
Yeah, this one definitely.
I mean, you just gave the answer. You said someone put on 4/4.
Yeah, you're right. But but so this one comes after. So what's happening in this scene though?
Any guesses? First of all, Jonah says I think 3 times for diegetic. Okay. Any guesses? I'll guess. Let me find the answer to that question. Okay. Of how many times? Okay, that's 1. Let me just search for diegetic in my notes because 1, 2, 3. I counted 3 too. Jonah, you're right. It's 3 times. And this time it was when Ketch drops the Mantel mix on the ground.
Exactly. So yes, this is when they're,
which is also when Ruby is kidnapped.
So there's some interesting effect. I mean, this is like very on the nose club music, you know, like sounds pretty much what most clubs sound like almost anywhere. You know, just big bass sounds, big clack and snare sounds. These aren't the exact samples, but they're close enough. And then some type of, you know, hi-hat or sounds, right? Kind of shaky sounds. And so there's like an interesting effect that when you've got these types of club sounds going on that are filling out the texture, making all the action happen underneath that big like really in your face kind of like overwhelming club sound, right? You've got a lot of scenes like this. You know, obviously you got movies like John Wick that have these huge action sequences, and the only music is really the club music going on, but you see all these like frenetic action scenes going on. It's almost like the characters get to hide behind that sound, right? They get to do whatever is sneaky attacks that they're trying to do. I'm also thinking about like The Dark Knight, where there's that other club scene where he sneaks into the club and he's beating people up with the club music. I think it's Dark Knight. If not, it's Batman Begins. But yeah, this club music, there's like it's a trope. It's another trope where big loud club music, something sneaky going on, while you've got very loud diegetic music happening as a cover for this type of action.
Okay. 3 times. I do want to. I want to read something that Justin said.
Yeah.
First of all, he says second time is a much more standard. Oh, he says the same thing. Second time is a much more standard electro techno groove feel.
Yeah.
Because this is the part where the popcorn, the Mental mix, is dropped on the ground. I just like, I love the sound of. I just love hearing the Mental mix for whatever reason. I just like the sound of. I don't know. I like the sound of that popcorn and it
Yeah.
being crunched and stepped on and
You
whatever.
should you should make a Mantel mix
I
of just a
I
mix
will.
of different mixes. Times that the mix
I
comes up.
mean, I can't tell if you're kidding.
I am kidding, but if anybody needs
You
to,
know that I've made a song that's just candy sounds. You know that.
I was
That's
just
why you
about to
said
say
that.
that if
Okay.
anybody wants to see Xanthe has this like awesome like crazy awesome piece that they made that's like all these like
It's just
really up
candy
close
sounds.
mic sounds of crunching candy and moving
It's very
candy. It really,
ASMR-y, but not the
it's
bad kind.
very, yeah, anyone that's in ASMR should definitely check this out. So
I'll put a
yeah,
link.
what's it called? It's on your SoundCloud?
I forgot what it's called.
Okay, it's
like
on
probably like
Xanthe's SoundCloud.
probably like candy version 3 or something.
Yeah,
I
check
forgot.
check
Smarties,
out Xanthe's
Skittles.
SoundCloud if you're into candy sounds.
And the compliment just threw me off guard. Thank you. So the Mantel mix. Okay, I don't know. I haven't posted on Instagram yet. Not on the main feed, but I
Yeah,
did post on
not at all.
stories. Yeah, I have 0 posts, but I started posting stories,
Uh-huh.
kind of. So like before I watched this episode, I had the idea suddenly of like, wait, I want to go into this episode with like a little bingo board, but bingo is like so big, so I decided to like just do tic-tac-toe 3 in a
Yeah.
row. And so I made a couple tic-tac-toe boards and I'll share them and of things to listen for in the episode. And then right after the episode, I was like, "Oh, I know what to put on the tic-tac-toe board for next week." And one of them that I'm putting on the board for next week is food sounds
Food sounds.
because of the Mantel mix. So damn cool. It's so cool. Um,
I have a
I love it.
theory,
And
everybody.
also on the subject of sound design, Justin wanted to call attention to the Pike voices, which I am very interested in too, because to me they sound like Cad Bane almost.
Yeah, they do. Very
And
synthy as well.
yeah,
But
and
I have a conspiracy theory about the Mantel mix. Okay,
okay,
here's my Lucasfilm conspiracy theory. Okay, I think that from now on, and just because here's what a lot of people were commenting when they opened up Galaxy's Edge, whereas like you look at a place like Harry Potter World and Universal, and they're like, you've got butterbeer, you've got the every flavored beans, you've got all these things that are in the books or the property that are like quoted pieces of food that people fans of that series want to eat, right? What you don't have in Star Wars is a whole lot of that. You don't really have like Star Wars food that's notable other than like the blue milk, which is like, if you're asking me, like
and
they really
Ronto stuff
when in the
and
movies do they
space
really
waffles. There's so
No, but
much food and hot chocolate. Oh no, that's Legends.
No. But, okay, no, but I'm asking like where out of the general population, who knows about like Ronto meat? Like no one knows, but everybody knows about every flavored beans. Everybody knows about butterbeer. Everybody knows about these things. So I guess my conspiracy theory is I think every show they're gonna make is gonna have some notable food item. So this show we got the
Yeah,
Mantel
I bet that's
mix.
right. Yeah,
Mandalorian, they have the Grogu cookies, right? So
the
let's see what the food.
macaroons.
Yeah, the macaroons, right? So I think that from now on they're gonna try to include more food items in all Star Wars movies.
Thank you, Jonah. That's what I'm saying. The space waffles are so
Hey, listen,
hilariously
I
ego.
know about space waffles,
I
but
know.
does
I'm just saying. I'm glad that
does your
space
mom
waffles
know
are
about
getting.
space
I'm
waffles?
glad we're getting a space waffles shout out because
Yeah,
how funny are those? They're amazing. Yeah, I feel like that's. I think you're right.
yeah.
I think you're
They're
right.
like, how can we sell food at Galaxy's Edge? Let's
Hey,
give
Blue Pig
Omega
Baby,
and
what's up? Yeah.
this is like the Star Wars level of product placement, right? It's like it's some fake thing that they put in there, because obviously they
Compliments for
can't
your
do
shirt.
real. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Go High Republic, y'all. Yeah.
Okay, so Justin
Oh,
says
sorry. I
that
got you. I got you off top.
that the noise of the sound, because like what the sound of Pike's voice, he says it's not so much of a vocoder. He says it
Yeah.
sounds like amplitude modulation to me. Within electronic music and sound design, amplitude describes volume. This is a loud. This is a high amplitude. This is a low amplitude. And so to create the Pike voice, there's basically an effect that shakes up the volume, so it goes really quickly from high to low in volume. So it's like
Cool.
so it sounds like, so when you do it really fast, which is, you know, a low frequency oscillator, it kind of gives you like a shaky sound, like you've lost your voice. Sort of like, yeah.
It's like going like this, really, really, really fast, right?
Sort of,
Basically, like
yeah.
covering, covering, and
It's like
then
playing
making it loud.
something with the volume control and just like turning the volume up and down really, really, really,
Yeah,
really, really
yeah.
fast.
Let's try it. Ready?
No,
It's kind of
no.
like I'm doing this. How am I
Oh,
coming through right now? Is it coming through right now? Like that?
oh yeah.
Ooh,
But like 100 times faster. But
about 100 times faster.
not 100 times, but you know, a lot faster. But I think, but that actually did give like a pretty interesting effect. So there
Yeah,
we
that's
go.
cool.
There we go. I have another music cue that is okay. I think there's a cue that sounds exactly like something from Star Wars, the motion picture.
I know that one.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard. It's a little.
It's also called A New Hope.
What's the joke? A little indie film called Star Wars, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So. Yeah. Okay. Let me just do that. Well, before that, because this runs right into that. I'll do.
Boom, boom.
It's like either some violin or some piccolo type thing.
Yeah. I noticed this. Okay. Can I ask, is the first note that you're playing an F?
No.
Does this, I think this motif definitely appears somewhere in it and it's the same melody, but it starts on an F. Like F, E,
Oh.
A flat, G, B flat.
Okay.
Sound
Oh
sound
yeah.
familiar?
Okay. Wait.
Am I right or am I crazy? I mean, I might be both.
I'm getting ahead of myself. This is this is another something like the marimba cue, where it happens all the time, but like
Right.
transposed in different keys with different instruments. It like happens in
Well,
bass clarinet, in
yeah.
trumpet.
So I wrote this
I
motif down. I
think you're
said, "What
thinking
is
of the
it?
same. I
What
think
is
you're
it?"
thinking of the same one. Let me play what the like notes are, and so if people kind of recognize the vibe of it.
Okay.
I'm going to switch it to piano because it's definitely not a marimba. It's kind of confusing. I'll just...
Everything sounds slinky on a marimba, doesn't it,
It
everybody?
really does.
Slinky, slinky.
Okay. Okay. It's a little more basic, sort of.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah, it always has, it goes down a half step, and then it goes up a major third, whatever you
Yeah,
want to call that.
exactly. Jonah noticed that there's a lot of similar sounding cues as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone's... Oh, it turns out everyone's heard of this. The original Star Wars. Well done, everyone.
So is this Sid? Is this have anything to do with Sid? Is this like, because I noticed Sid's usually on screen when this sound is happening, but it could just
Interesting.
Be obviously she's part of this. But I wrote this down with a question mark, being like, what is this theme and was it referring to? Because I couldn't figure it out because I heard it all over the place. That's exactly right. What is it? What is it?
Drinking spiced tea.
Well, speaking of High Republic, there is like a scene in the High Republic that is like a very like in the Light of the Jedi that is like a very like on the nose description of like people doing spice. Like it feels like something out of like Breaking Bad or something. There's a scene where they like describe exactly what's happening, and it's like it's pretty explicit drug use, and I need that spice, man.
Spice
I
is
read
like...
I read a funny comment on the internet that someone's like, spice is just like it's just regular spices. It's just like a really lack of flavor everywhere in the Star Wars, and like having some type of spice to add to your food is like really a rare commodity, right?
Oh my gosh, Blue Pig Gaming. High Republic.
The High Republic. Yes, right?
That's really
funny.
funny.
Everyone know what scene that I'm talking about? Anyway.
Justin says the spice must flow. While spice is mentioned, like, this is amazing. Justin sent like a whole document. While spice is mentioned quite often, we rarely get to see it. Some Clone Wars episodes have spice at the center of the plot. I find it interesting that it never appeared in the movies, but is such a... I think it did. But it's such a serious problem within the galaxy. The spice mines are always
Solo
used...
represent or like says something about
it's more just reference. The spice mines are always used as a threat, and we see the horrific truth in an episode of Clone Wars Deal or No Deal with, Ahsoka, Trace, Rafa. But yeah, it's interesting. They are getting... I have noticed that Star Wars talks about spice more increasingly. And to be honest, spice is like pretty well represented in the books.
Yeah.
In not just High Republic. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting that we have
this is the spice theme. Is this the spice theme?
Right? I wrote it down as like the danger tunnel danger, because we first got it when they're in the tunnel. But again, it's something that is sort of could be a danger theme for like many things. I don't know. So we'll just have to keep our ear on that. Okay, so I won't play the second part again, but now I'm going to play the original Star Wars part that for me, it sounded very similar. It sounded very similar to something. And let me know what you think. Let me first get the correct instrument because I think that will make a big difference.
Okay. What are you thinking of?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Though I don't know, maybe what
to me it sounds
maybe
like
what musicians think is really wild is maybe not wild.
To me it sounds like what is it? Troll? The troll?
You don't know how to play?
Gnome? The gnome from
Wait, you don't you? Oh, the part. Yeah, the part we just. The part I just played.
Pictures at an exhibition to me.
Okay, but then right after that, we hear this. Okay. Does that perk up anyone's ear?
Yeah, this is play it again. Oh yeah, this is like when Obi-Wan appears.
No,
Obi-Wan appears,
no.
or it's
You're
similar to
thinking.
that. Oh, sorry, this is from the original movie, right?
Yeah.
So sorry, I was thinking of when Obi-Wan appears in Return of the Jedi. Maybe it's a similar sound. So do one more time. Yeah, what this is play it again. Yeah, play it again. What's it from?
K-pop Times, I think,
Ding.
knows. K-pop Times says that is so
I'm not
original Star Wars. Or maybe we're all just. Oh no, it's not. I love. Okay, it's not the Obi-Wan twinkle, but I love that that
It's a
the
lot
Obi-Wan.
like that.
But
Yeah.
the Obi-Wan tinkle. I know that was a typo, but now that is really funny. Okay, it's not the Force things happening sound, but you know. Oh, you know what? It might be. I'm just trying to think of like there's an even more maybe it's reused there. Now I'm tripping. There's like a very obvious spot
yeah, I
that is
can't
like
can't remember it. It's
that you'll
it's
probably.
so in there. It's so in there.
Do you want me
I
to
feel
play?
like it does.
I don't. Would it
Well,
help if I played it in the original key? I'm
so
playing.
does Obi-Wan have something to do with it?
No.
Not at all. Okay. So um yeah.
You might be upset. So
Okay.
that's the original key. So this is the original key. So
Yeah.
maybe it'll like perk your ears up better. So
Oh. Oh, yeah. So it's
does the extra context help?
yeah, so this is it's on Tatooine, and it's the droids, right?
Nope. No.
Jawas and
Nope.
droids.
Oh my gosh, this is great. It only happens this.
Yeah, but what's happening in this spot? Oh, the sand people. The sand people?
Nope.
It's on Tatooine,
Oh
isn't
my
it?
god, this is great. No.
It's not on Tatooine. Okay, so that's okay. Um What am
Here's
I
a hint that
missing
won't
from?
help. We hear it twice. We might hear it in Rogue One, but I just can't remember. We hear it in A New Hope and The Last Jedi. Once each.
And you're saying that this does not happen on Tatooine.
It
This
doesn't really
sound
happen.
this
I can't. Not no. I would say no.
Oh, it's like in space. Yeah, this is like in the beginning of the movie, right? Like
Yep. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah.
It's the transition
Yeah. Okay. Oh man.
it's the transition from the main title.
I knew it was somewhere in the beginning. I couldn't figure
Oh, it's
out
like
why.
kind of a trick question.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. There's a reason why I thought it was on Tatooine is because this sounds so Stravinsky,
Yeah.
and everything that happens on Tatooine sounds like the Rite of Spring. So like I was somehow linking it to Tatooine for that reason.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like right after.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
right
during
after
the
the
when
crawl.
it's like they're panning.
Exactly.
And the only other time the opening crawl ends that way, the opening main title ends that way, other than New Hope, is The Last Jedi. They do the same. They use the same piccolo solo, which is interesting. And in Bad Batch, in this episode, we heard the same thing like very, if not the same thing, because a couple of the notes were very soft. If not the same thing, like the same like leading note, like the same ending note, like the same main notes, but just transposed like a fourth down. So
Mm, mm.
I could not unhear that. I mean, Yeah, that was like one of my first notes. Was like 1825, high pitched violin piccolo motif from Star Wars.
That's interesting.
But yeah, so in Bad Batch, it's at 1858,
Cool.
and I was like, oh my god. Oh,
That's
okay,
interesting.
okay, okay, okay. Fair, fair. That's fair. Happens over Tatooine. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
but
fair.
that's no excuse for me. I was picturing the desert this whole time, and I don't know why I
Right.
was. So
Anyway,
I don't get a pass. I should know my I should know literally the first seconds of the series.
after you
That's just
made fun of it for being an indie film, that's funny.
um nice, nice.
Well, let me just finish up Justin's notes in case he had anything. Let's see. Love the
Some
stealthy
really
music
nice
quote.
stuff.
He see Justin really liked this episode. So there's something for everyone.
There you go.
Sid has a hidden heart. I love her too. I dig the
Yeah.
Sid and Omega relationship. I think Sid feels like they need to put on this I'm obviously using you act due to her profession and reputation and is really good at hiding any kind of affection. I think Omega is a positive influence on Sid and is starting to trust Clone Force 99 beyond just saying, you owe me. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense.
I think that makes sense. And I think there's something like she gives a nickname to all the batch, and she treats it like she's doing a dig on them, but it's really terms of endearment.
Yeah.
Everybody's got
Like she doesn't want to
some kind of
show that she's sort of like Han Solo.
yeah, yeah. She's dedicated a nickname Goggles, what's the Dark and Broody, or what's the other one that she calls Hunter something else, I think.
Bandana.
Yeah, Bandana. Yeah, Omega is what was the one from this
Tiny.
one? Tiny, right? So she's got an aloof vibe, but she really actually likes these guys. And I think she keeps saying like, "Oh, I gotta blackmail you," but I think it's ultimately like she doesn't want to lose these guys,
Yeah, I
She
think,
really
yeah.
she likes having them around.
I have to say, like, I
Um
was not like, I didn't know how to consider her. I was sort of like, Sid, come on. Like, why do they, like, I don't, Sid sort of started to annoy me in this episode, but
sure.
it made me also feel like they probably have more of a connection than I just know. And so when I consider it like that, then I'm like, of course they would help her. And
Yeah.
she's putting on an act. And I don't, I sort of was taking it at face value. Um, Justin has a Lord of the Rings note, and I don't really know Lord of the Rings, but
Okay,
hey,
let's
for
hear it.
those of you who
Yeah.
know it. So, and so I don't understand the context of this, but I'll just read it. He wrote,
Yeah, let's go.
Fool of a Took.
Yes. Okay. Did
I
anyone
don't know
else
what
catch
that
that
means. And then
too?
he wrote, Wrecker equals Pippin. And
Yeah.
then he wrote, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. While traveling through the dwarven mine called Moria,
Moria.
Pippin
Yeah.
took innocently slash accidentally drops a stone slash skeleton book slash movie down a well. This signals a hidden orc army to attack our heroes. I hope that made
Yeah. So
sense to someone.
yeah. So there's a scene where they're in this quiet dungeon, and there's goblins and orcs that lurk elsewhere in the dungeons, but because they're so quiet, they are not aware of their presence. So the whole thing is that they're down there being quiet. But that there's this looming force that any wrong move they could like summon this huge swarm of goblins. And I guess he says, I always forget if it's Mary or Pippin. I guess it's Pippin that hits off a bucket and just completely echoes throughout the whole mine, alerting the goblins to their presence. So this is just like that moment where they drop the little
It's
what is it,
funny.
the
Apparently, there's a
flashlight or
meme.
whatever it is.
There's a meme
Yeah.
on it. Oh, prequel memes. Oh, okay. That's funny. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
And then Justin said something about the scomp link, which is the key screwdriver thing on Echo's hand, and like
Yeah.
also R2D2 chopper. And then, yes, the classic Star Wars solution of blast the door pad, and that will open the door.
Yes. I
Mine car
love like
chase.
blasting a pad in Star Wars. It opens doors, it closes doors, it jams doors, anything you want it. Whatever the door is not doing,
I mean,
blast it and it'll do the thing that you
see,
want to do.
blasters get a bad rap, but like, how handy does it?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Can a lightsaber do that? No, it can't. Okay.
somehow
Or
a
at least we
blaster
haven't.
is
Yeah.
like the ultimate Swiss Army knife. So minecart
Exactly.
chase, yes. Indiana Temple of Doom, definitely looks like a ride.
Oh yeah, for sure.
um, it can we acknowledge Wrecker's amazing panic scream? Got to get us out of here. D. Bradley Baker
Yeah.
is so talented, it's unfair.
And I love the combinations and sequence of sounds during when they drop that light bomb down there. Was so cool. You could hear all these bats, like all the. Did we actually get a good look at what these insects even look like? Or they? I feel
They
like they
looked
just
more
flutter.
bat-y to me.
They were kind of like bats, right? And you get this amazing explosion. By the way, the cue leading up to the explosion was all in 7/8, which was really
Yeah,
cool.
I did write that. I thought
Yeah,
I wrote that down in case you ended up testing us on it, and I want.
yeah.
um, and
So yeah, it explodes, and then you hear all these great sounds, the crazy sonic boom, and then after that, there's not really any score, but you hear the squeaking of the rappel cable coming back up of Wrecker on his rappel cable.
yes,
Really
Magic
cool sound
Blaster.
sequence
That's
there.
a hilarious. That would be a great name for something. I hope someone names something Magic Blaster. By the way.
Magic Blaster.
Um,
Yeah, lightsaber's gonna remove the door entirely, unless it's, of course, the door from Phantom Menace, where they are trying to cut through with the and that there's a scene in the High Republic comic where she's using a lightsaber as like you would like a climbing pike, which doesn't make any sense. Like she's
it
like climbing
does.
a tree, and
I think it makes sense.
but like how does it get stuck in the rock? Shouldn't it cut right through the rock and you slide
Well,
all
but
the way
it's still
down?
slow. Like it's not like when you. It's not like.
I think it's in
It's
like a
more like
tree
you
though.
see in the prequels. You see in the Phantom Menace, or at least Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
you see like they kind of have to like wait a little.
All
It's
right,
like and
I'll
they're
buy
like,
it.
hurry
I'll
up.
buy
They're
it.
like, hurry up. I'm.
All right, I buy it. You convinced
Anyway,
me.
I
Convinced me.
the lightsabers can remove the door. Yeah, but I mean, like, is that always the solution? Sometimes you just need to open the door. You don't need to take the whole damn
Right,
door off.
right.
Which is
And in that case,
really
Magic
funny.
Blaster. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, both come in handy. I swear the bats sounded like porgs for a hot second.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. They get kind of high pitched. Well, you can turn down the lightsaber's strength too.
That's right. I forgot that you can do that. Don't I? They explain. Kanan explains that in Rebels, which is really cool. Where he like explains how you can make the. You get like a little tech lesson on a lightsaber. He's like, turn this knob, and it goes a little longer. When he's giving the dark saber to
Oh, Sabine.
Sabine,
Well, then I guess
or
they
maybe
could
maybe
turn
it's
their
Ezra.
lightsabers down so low that they could open doors the normal way.
Uh,
I just need to turn my light. Oh, can you
like
please open the
always
door?
on this
Don't worry,
podcast,
I
we've
got it. Let me
gotten
just do it with my. Let me do it with the lightsaber. Let me just turn it down really low, and then I'll
really
just kind of like
low.
boop the like button. I can still do everything with my lightsaber. This is great. Youngling
That's
lightsaber.
great.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, okay, lightsaber
Because
talk.
that's the
Anyway,
thing with training with a lightsaber. It's like
dangerous.
it's dangerous that you slice off your hand if you mess up. And so like,
Yeah.
how do you learn how to spin it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like violinists get a little cardboard violin when they're babies to not have a real one because
Right.
they're also very dangerous.
Right.
Um,
Younglings. Yeah. That's Yoda teaching a big group of younglings slicing off their hands with a.
so the last thing that I wanted to bring up was Ruby is a lizard that purrs. Okay. And I guess I'm going to be watching Ruby's career with great interest because cat lizard.
Cat lizard. I'm into it.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like it if my lizard purred for sure.
Or what if your cat was a lizard? What if your cat like did like lizard stuff? Would you be into that?
Not really.
Yeah, I
But
wouldn't either.
but
It'd be
yeah.
kind of strange.
So we got the Bad Batch theme a few times too. I thought there was an Imperial March fake out, but it didn't happen. And wow, we got the standard Bad Batch theme at the end. That's about all I had for this episode. Like we said, it was sort of one where there wasn't like a big theme to latch onto. So it gave us the opportunity to pay attention to all these smaller things.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to make some tic-tac-toe boards for next week, and I'll post them somewhere.
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram.
Comment, like, and subscribe
so-
if you want Xanthe to actually put up an Instagram post on the Star Wars music.
But let me know if you want me to add any things to the boards. you know, things that we think will happen in the next episode musically, or things that would be funny to hear. So like the I think what I'm doing, and like what I already started to do, is like I'm going to make a few different levels of boards. So one of them will have more like music notes on it, maybe like a tritone and things like that, and the other ones will not, so that anyone can, you know,
Mm,
pick up on things. But, there are some things that if you've been watching these streams, then you would probably know. But if not, you might not know what I
right.
mean when I write Rampart's theme.
Hmm.
But, let me know. Just let me know. I'm going to put 7/8. I'll put 7/8 on there. I'll put odd
7,
meter.
8.
I'll put
Odd meter for sure.
odd meter on there. So the point is like not like, yeah, I don't want it to
Odd
be so,
meter. How about odd meter action scene? Let's do that. Um, because I feel like that's where it happens the most. Is where like, it's usually in some type of like tense action scene.
well,
We
we don't
got a
want to make
lucky
it,
one with the
we don't make it too
diegetic scene.
complicated. But I also don't, I also think, um, that would be fun to see like how quickly we can get 3 in a row.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because it's not going to be so hard that like you'll be lucky to cross
Mhm.
anything off, and some of them will be so generic that they will happen during the episode, but you just don't know when. Like diegetic music, that could happen. Will it
I
happen in the
think we're
first
gonna
five
get a
minutes?
little bit more. I mean, so we got 3 more episodes.
Mm-hmm.
3 more episodes. So you think it's gonna be a 3? You think it's gonna be a 3 arc for towards the end? Because we've
I would
got the.
love if it were.
I feel like that'd be a good idea because we've got Crosshair chasing them down. We've got the Kaminoans that are after Omega in some way. We haven't seen them since the Cad Bane arc, really, right?
I want
So
Fennec back
I
because
want
I
Fennec
want
back
Fennec's
too.
theme.
She
Wonderful,
did
the
give
mind of a
us
child.
she did give us that I'm gone for this season wink wink
That's true.
quote,
That's true. That's
which
true.
was the you know where to find me, which
Fine.
typically means I'll be back next season. But we'll see. I mean, maybe she will be in the next couple episodes. I'd love to see her again too. I thought that Fennec was going to be in there in the beginning because did you hear when they landed on I always forget the name of this planet that's Sid's
Ord
um
Mantell.
Word Mantell, I heard some like low glisses or glistening downs. Sounds I heard a little bit of Fennec
Oh, I
texture.
thought that was just the ship.
Yeah. I don't
But
know. That's what it
anyway,
turned out to be. But
okay.
I heard a little bit of that texture in the beginning and I was like, oh, I wonder if Fennec's coming. But nope.
False
Faked
alarm.
out. Faked
Um,
out.
if you all want to hear me talk about music for longer, I was on Darth Chaco's channel on
Yeah.
Wednesday, and we had a 2.5 hour conversation about all of the music of Star Wars.
Cool.
We talked about our favorite music from all of the eras: prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, original trilogy, the shows, the anthology films, and our hopes for the future. And that was a really interesting discussion. Also, lots of examples were played, and everyone had lots of favorites to share. Um, what's another thing? Star Wars Music Minute, the main podcast. Um, the recent episode features Star Wars Explained slash AKA Alex, and we are discussing the Battle of Crate during The Last Jedi. So yeah, you should check that out if you want to hear us break down all of the motifs that are in that scene, which is like 12, literally 12, like 11 or 12 motifs. It's a lot. And James will be back with me next
Next
week
week.
for
And then
hopefully a really exciting episode.
yeah.
And if
Yeah.
not, you know,
And
yes,
hoping Justin comes back.
yes,
Send,
yes,
send
yes,
him some
yes.
love. So,
Awesome. Thank you, K-Bop Times. Darth Chaco is very awesome,
yeah.
and I like his stuff a lot. Motif Explosion, exactly. That's the name of the
That's right.
episode. All
A
right,
lot of
everyone.
this. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been fun. It's nice to have this space to talk about even the episodes that normally I would maybe just go about the rest of my week and forget about. Um,
And I have to say that it's a great exercise in exactly doing that. Even if it's not your favorite piece of Star Wars content, just breaking it down in the way um, we do this week, or in any way you want to break down Star Wars and kind of look at all the little minute details. That honestly, it helps you appreciate stuff that you didn't necessarily enjoy as much at the first listen. You start to see
totally.
like, oh, There's
Yeah.
a lot going on here
Not
that
break it
I
down to nitpick it, but
yeah.
but delve into
Just
the
to
details to
just
just
to
see
see what's
see
going
what's
on.
happening. Just
Yeah.
to see what's happening. Because as an artist, I would
Yeah.
hate it if someone, if sometimes I write things that like start out slow on purpose, and I'm like, what if someone just were like analyzing this song minute by minute? It's like a 15-minute song or something, and they're
Right.
going minute by minute, and the first 5 minutes is just like the slow part on purpose.
Right.
I would hate it if I were subject to that. Oh my gosh. Anyway, see you all next week.
Bye, everybody.
And it's been a fun band batch. Thanks for helping us solidify that name. All
Yeah.
right. Look at this
Thanks,
end
y'all.
screen, by the way. Check this out. Check that
Woo!
out.
Look at that.
As I end this now. Do 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 do.